Since her first appearance in 1941, Wonder Woman has become an icon of the comic book industry. Alongside Batman and Superman, she makes up DC's Trinity, and just like her male counterparts, her popularity has held firm all these years. Can you think of a Halloween where you didn't see several gals dressed as Princess Di? Not that Princess Di. After a successful and fondly remembered TV series, and a couple of recent failed attempts to bring her to live action, Diana finally made a silver screen debut in 2016's BVS. Now, a year on, she's getting her own solo movie, so we thought it about time to ask the big question: who could kill Wonder Woman? Because that's kind of what we do around here.
Like most DC characters, Wonder Woman has been through several iterations. Her origin story has been retconned a bunch of times, with her powers fluctuating too. Everyone knows about her invisible jet, but some versions of the character can fly unassisted, without wind power. As the DC continuity is a bit of a clusterfuck, and to make things a little easier on ourselves, we'll be drawing from a variety of sources and using something of an amalgam of the character. Because let's be honest, amalgams usually work best for these kind of things. Unless it's Amalgam Comics. For obvious reasons, we'll be omitting the new 52 interpretation of Diana, because we're not entirely sure how to kill the god of war.
Whether being formed from magical clay or from Zeus's godly seed, seriously, that guy shags anything that moves. Diana was granted supernatural powers from birth. Talk about your white privilege. Among her many abilities, Wonder Woman has immense strength, speed, and durability to rival even Superman's. While her lesser known skills include her love for taco making, her ability to converse with animals, plus her innate affinity for admin work, which came in super handy that time she was the JSA secretary. Perhaps Diana's greatest asset is her longevity. She's old. Like, really old. But instead of knitting or collecting cats like most old birds, Diana is trained to become the ultimate warrior. Princess.
Her skills in combat are unrivaled by anyone in the Justice League, and her strategic planning is up there with the best. She carries a sword and shield, an unbreakable lasso that compels those bound by it to tell the truth, and wears bracelets that can deflect any number of ranged attacks. In short, Diana is a beast, and it's going to be very hard to take her down. To give you an idea of exactly how hard, during the Tower of Babel storyline, Batman tells Superman his only contingency plan to stop Diana is Clark himself. But we reckon there are a few others who could take her down. To keep the bounce relatively fair, we'll use Supes as the upper threshold, limiting ourselves to characters equal to or lesser in power than the Big Blue Boy Scout. And as usual, all this is based on personal opinion. So who could make Princess Di die? Again, not that Princess Di. She already died.
Number 5, Parasite.
A fairly obvious, if cheap choice to kick us off. There have been a few versions of Parasite, there's a theme cropping up here, but a constant is his ability to absorb energy. Oh, and his boyish good looks, of course. When in physical contact with another being, Parasite can steal their life force, and if they happen to be superpowered, he gets all the good stuff too. Strength, speed, batarang accuracy, you name it. He's even been shown to take on the memories and experiences of others. But with the absorption of great power comes the absorption of great responsibility too. That is to say, Parasite also absorbs a super being's weaknesses. So if he were to bother Supes, for instance, he'd also acquire Kal-El's kryptonite allergy, and there ain't no nasal spray to alleviate that shit. Luckily, Diana, has no such ridiculous vulnerabilities. At least, not anymore. Though, let's be honest, Aphrodite's law would come in very handy for a list like this.
She's clearly the superior fighter, but Parasite just needs that one touch to drain her powers, a touch that would render her a mere mortal and thus vulnerable to all kinds of death blows. Diana's best hope would be to keep Parasite at a distance, using a lasso to ensnare the bastard and smack him against some hard objects, like Zack Snyder's favourite, any and all nearby buildings. But we say Parasite's energy absorption extends to the magical power of the lasso too. Sorry Zack, no demolition for you. Even if he weren't capable of such a feat, Parasite could just draw energy from his surroundings, electrical cabling, a 5-hour energy drink, or even just the life force of some innocent passers-by. Whatever method he chooses, it's gotta be the energy shot. Would provide the necessary power to get close to and defeat Diana, provided he doesn't start monologuing.
Number 4, Martian Manhunter.
Jon Jones's list of powers is pretty extensive. When it comes to combat prowess though, at least in a traditional sense, Wonder Woman has the advantage. She's also keen on Jon's weakness to fire, which she could use to great effect. But the Martian has a few tricks up his green sleeves that would make for an interesting bout, even though he doesn't technically have sleeves. It's a natural ability of green Martians to become intangible, kinda like Flash or Kitty Pryde. Jon can phase through solid objects, which effectively renders Diana's weaponry and lasso useless. But even lasso, let's not underestimate her.
Like a tie hooker, Jon has some unseen extras. This bastard could shoot plasma beams from his eyeballs, though they'd easily be deflected by Diana's bracelets. In terms of strength, speed, and durability, the combatants are roughly matched, and with no real long-range advantage for either opponent, it's likely the two would resort to battling in close quarters, which suits the Martian. For all Diana's prowess with fists and blade, she would struggle to hit John thanks to his intangibility. He's also capable of shape-shifting on a molecular level, like the time he became all putty-like, penetrating Diana's bodily organs and cutting off their oxygen supply. Yes, he was all up inside her, but not in the fun way Steve Trevor's accustomed to. Without soups to bail her out, Diana would almost certainly succumb to John's trickery.
Number 3, Sinestro.
Try being born with reddish skin, pointy ears, and the name Sinestro, and not becoming evil. We dare ya! To be fair though, his uncle Tim Sinestro is just a lawyer. So, still evil then. Formerly a member of the Green Lantern Corps alongside that buffoon Hal Jordan, Sinestro came to embrace the dark side. Instead of willpower, Sinestro utilizes fear, though nevertheless carries a similar powering. It enables him to fly and create anything his twisted imagination can dream up. Durable shielding, even one of those fidget spinner things to really confuse his opponent. Perhaps Sinestro's biggest advantage is his cunning. Not that Diana's dumb, just that Thal is one smart, manipulative son of a bitch. Which sounds silly in a fight, but don't underestimate this chap. He will get inside your head, much like your smart, manipulative ex did. And remember how that turned out?
But let us not forget Wonder Woman's superior speed, though not canon, and what isn't DC. In the book Red Sun, Superman is shown to remove an entire battalion of Green Lantern's rings before they could even think. Theoretically, Diana might be able to pull off the same trick against Sinestro, but he is no chump. If he's looking for a fight, he'd certainly enter the bout with his shields up. Both are fairly equal in how much punishment they can take, and Diana could probably smash at least a few of Sin's constructs during the heat of battle. After a couple of rounds of duking it out, Sinestro would look for a new strategy. His best option would be to force the battle to space. Now, battlefield removal is a bit of a cheap tactic, but Sinestro is one bad hombre. In space, Sinestro can survive and Diana cannot. At least, not without a magical oxygen-providing earrings. Seriously, that was a thing that happened. Trapping Diana in a bubble construct, releasing her into the cold harshness of space, then unleashing the full offensive power of the ring should be enough to finish the Amazonian off.
Number 2,
Black Adam. Okay, we know we said we wouldn't pick anyone stronger than Superman, but it's questionable whether this guy is. Teth Adam was chosen by the wizard Shazam to become the champion of the gods, and thus is imbued with the powers of the Egyptian pantheon. He was the proto-Captain Marvel long before Billy Batson was even a twinkle in his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's eye. That is, until he turned evil. He's got a long list of powers, but in short, he's incredibly strong, fast and durable, can fly, is highly intelligent, and can utilize the magic lightning that transforms him as a weapon against opponents. He outranks Diana in almost every way physically, but she does have a couple of advantages.
While Adam is an accomplished warrior, he's not on the fighting level of Wonder Woman, but thanks to his near total invulnerability, he can take anything she dishes out. No matter how hard she hits the dude, he will keep coming back. Much like those irritating repeats of the Big Bang Theory. There is another option for our warrior princess though. Her lasso, of course. Like Captain Marvel and many a masochist, Black Adam has a safe word, which activates his transformation between mortal and mighty immortal. As mentioned, the golden lasso forces people to tell the truth, so if she did manage to catch him with it, she could, in theory, get him to reveal his word, transform back to Teth Adam, then snap the fucker's neck, or just watch him wither to dust. Whichever's good.
There are a couple of problems with this strategy though. Firstly, would Diana even know he could be transformed to his lesser self? Being buds with Captain Marvel, chances are she would. But then there's the problem of actually catching the guy. People have evaded the lasso in the past, and even broken it. Adam is faster than Diana, so unless he's really sloppy, he should avoid getting hogtied. But even if he does get roped, there's no guarantee the lasso's properties will work. It's the magic of one set of gods versus another, and those Egyptian gods are pretty damn merciless. There have even been times when the lasso hasn't worked at all, like on Doomsday, so there is no guarantee of a lasso win. We say after a long and very vicious battle, Adam drops the people's elbow to finish Diana off.
Number 1, Reverse Flash.
Like with almost everything at DC, there have been several characters to carry the title Reverse Flash, but here we're specifically talking about Eobard Thawne, aka Professor Zoom, aka JD's bro from Scrubs. Yep, same guy, at least after he assumes the Harrison Wells identity. Look, it's confusing, okay? Thorn has a couple of different origins, but in general, he's a genius born in the 25th century and for one reason or another becomes obsessed with the Flash. Like any good villain, he goes totally bonkers and travels through time to mess with Barry's life. And by mess, we mean murder his nearest and dearest. As you do. Varying origins and motivations aside, Zoom is essentially an evil Barry Allen. He can move at faster than light speeds, phase through solid objects, travel in and manipulate time, and also do that shaky hand thing.
Now, you may be thinking that Diana stands no chance, but there is precedent for speedsters being beaten in the comics. Despite how one-sided the matchups appear on paper, Diana's even beaten Zoom, though we'd have to chalk this up to plot-induced stupidity. It was a crossover after all, so the writers had the task of making it seem fair. We should also point out that Diana has legitimately taken down Wally West, even though she gets battered for half the book, but being the master combatant she is, Diana recognises a pattern in Wally's attack and clotheslines him accordingly. Being so hard to beat though, speedsters often job to lesser characters, and we have to point out that Wally West is no Eobard Thawne.
So how does Thawne get the win? Well, there are a number of options. In the interest of keeping things slightly fair, we'll say he can't just erase Diana from the timeline. His initial attack would comprise of some very heavy, very fast strikes. It's unlikely Diana could counteract the majority of blows, but at the same time, she could probably take any beating Thawne could hand out. It would surely soften her up though. As for Wonder Woman's attacks, there's little she can do. The lasso has caught Zoom in the past, but honestly, this was dumb. If she does land a blow, it's most likely the breaks for Zoom, but realistically, there's no way she can hit him. Even though he can hit hard and fast, the quickest win for Zoom would likely be to create a vacuum. Running very fast in a circle, speedsters can suck the air out of any given location, meaning those in the center have difficulty breathing, and Diana needs to breathe. Despite the earrings, she'd put up one hell of a fight, but in the end, Thawne wins.
So there's our list. Do you agree? Disagree? Or do you just think we're horrid misogynistic assholes for even daring to bring this up? Probably the last one, right? I mean, we are talking about killing a fictional female after all.
Whatever your opinion, feel free to sound off in the comments below. And for all you feminists out there, why not check out our other videos where we talk about killing male characters, like this one about people who could kill Batman. 2 of our selections are even female. Equality's a bitch, right? Thanks for watching, guys.